Hello, I'm back. I decided to run with a little bit of a different deck. This is a winner deck list for the, I don't know if it was like a Genesys Invitational, but I got this fancy new mat. This was the, we have Zeus and we have Typhon. I've been running this for a while. I don't know how many events right now I've been running locals, and I've been going undefeated probably since the last like 3 or 4 times. It is pure Magnet Warrior. There's nothing fancy to it. All it is just like essentially setting up a very, very unbreakable board going first, making it so they have to play through a bunch of hand traps that I feel like are just way too little points. And then also when the people go second, you can just easily break the board because you put so many bodies on board, you put so much pressure, and your extra deck is full of utility monsters. So we'll just go ahead and get with the deck profile. If you want to see any sort of combo lines or anything like that, comment down below. We'll figure something out, and I don't mind a little conversation. Just to go with the deck list, we have the Convulsion Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. That is quite the mouthful of a card, but this is kind of what you surround yourself with. I'm going to separate these out, by the way, just so you know. This is kind of like what the whole deck is based off of, is this card and Magnet Bonding, which has 3 busted effects. You have a way to add him or any of your level 4 lower Magnet Warriors. You have a way to add a level 8, which doesn't really ever come up that often other than trying to like secure a bunch more advantage. And then it also fusion summons, which is the primary use of this card. I run 12 copies of ways of getting to this card in the form of Magnet Bonding itself, and then we have Dueltarion. This card's the next best thing. And then we also have a Searcher for it. So that's where the 12 copies comes from. A lot of people probably don't know what this is called. It's called Inferior Punisher. It essentially adds this to the hand, and if your opponent controls something, then you can summon it instead, which very, very rarely ever comes up. And then it has another effect that we don't have the ability to use in this deck. So yeah, not a lot of people use this card. It's just a consistency piece. Honestly, if you really wanted to, you could probably put this in as another hand trap of sorts. But I just decided to go with more consistency over anything else. The next little bit we have, that's not what I want to put in there. The next thing is our betas, which is the Searcher for all of the Magnet Warriors. This also has the ability to tribute itself to summon one from the deck. Like I said, this is pure, so as we get through all of the monsters, this is the fusion one. This is the Magnet Warrior Sigma minus. He reveals himself in the hand and you fusion summon, so you don't always have to use him, but sometimes it's important. And then it also has its ability to dump a level 8 to the graveyard, which is also very, very important for some combo lines. A lot of people only run 1 or 2 copies of this card. I think this card is actually busted. This is insane. It has a, I'll read it real quick. It's if you control an earth monster and your opponent's monsters that attack must attack earth monsters only, which is funny. It has the ability to revive a Magnet Warrior, level 4 lower Magnet Warrior from the graveyard. And so being able to spam this effect during your opponent's turn, either player's turn, being able to summon this back out, like just kind of lock them out of the battle phase. This makes it so you can only attack Earth, and this makes it so that if Earth's attack, you can negate the attack, which is really funny and quirky. Another card that you run, but people only run 1 of, is Epsilon. Epsilon is also, I feel like, is a 3 of, is because one way that you can kind of make it so that your opponent doesn't ever get through, killing all of your guys and actually inflicting damage is a lot of the times during your turn, you will summon this, or during your opponent's turn, you'll be summoning this back out, which will send this, which will revive one, and then this one will revive another. So it's like, it's just super, super spammy. And it's like, how do you get through all this? It's really hard to explain because the general combo lines end on like 2 different XCs. You have the ability to fusion summon, and you have like a pop, which is kind of fun. I run 2 other names. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. And these are kind of more like utility. This one, which is Delta, this one helps send one without having to revive. So this card you know, Bell is in the format, so sometimes this is a lot better to summon than the Epsilon. And then, of course, you have another disruption piece, which is basically if an Earth monster activates an effect, you can book them in one of your opponent's monsters, and you have ability to destroy an Earth on the field either while this is in your hand or in the graveyard and revive it. So this is where you can get to a lot of the deck C's plays. The next one is 2 copies of Tolution. A lot of people only run 1 copy of this, but there are just DD Crows and other things to remove this card from the graveyard so easily, and a lot of the times you're dumping 2 to the graveyard, and in this deck you have the ability to summon both back out. That's not a once per turn summon, so you have the ability to summon 2 of these out and they become a problem. They're just the really good big beat sticks. Oh, it has the ability to tribute itself off during your opponent's turn. Revive something. It comes up when your opponent is you know, threatening to remove this, but a lot of the times you're just they'll kaiju it, and so there is one particular combo line which is very, very niche, but you can end with 2 of these, and so if they do end up tributing off 1, you still have 1 to threaten your interaction. The next few cards that I'm going to be are basically all the hand traps. So you have the Nibiru, the Primal Being. It's important. I generally go into Gallant Granite, which is a card in the extra deck that I use to search this card out, or if you need to, just because it is a rock and it's. I think this card's busted. Nobody respects this card. I still feel like it may be a little too low points, but at the end of the day, this is important. I run copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This card's very, very nice, also pointed. This card gets rid of like the field spells. It gets rid of some problematic monsters that just get sticky, or some spells. I really like this card a lot. I run Skullmeister. Skullmeister is good alternative as a free hand trap. Oh, not as good as Crow, but sometimes can be important in some range of other decks, and it's also a level 4, which is what I kind of prefer it in this deck, because a lot of times you can normal summon out. You don't normal summon in this deck as you combo, so this can be a good normal summon to make an Xyz. And then of course you run Fua, which is also just a little too low pointed, and when you run 12 hand traps, you generally see a few of them while you are in the middle of a duel. Last card I run, this is the 41st card, is Magnet Induction. I have a billion ways to search Magnet Bonding, and sometimes you just need an extra card to summon, or another card to search off of your Conduction Warrior Plasma Magnum card, which is the fusion monster that's coming up next. I'll go through the extra deck. I run 2 copies of each. Cool Tune is still in the format, in some way, shape, or form, so you have to respect cards that rip things from the extra deck, so you just want to have copies of this card. This one is the TCG exclusive, the Flux. I don't know how to say this word very well, but it revives, it special summons 1, it has a bunch of other abilities, and then also it allows you to kind of get follow-up. So when you revive, you know, any of your guys, essentially, you know, you can revive your Epsilon when you fusion summon into it, which is, once again, like ways of that being able to push. You can revive this. If you have a way to keep this card on the field, you can bounce this back to your hand and have the ability to fusion summon next turn. You can revive this for extra searches. Like, the deck really, really functions very, very cleanly. Anyway, this card does a lot for the deck as well. Makes everything Earth on the field, which makes, you know, synergies with a lot of the stuff that you have in your main deck. Has the ability to search for your magnet spell cards, and then randomly has the ability to make you normal summon again, which is kind of the reason for the double Tolution, is because you can send the Tolution with this effect and get an extra normal summon off of a magnet monster, so all good. And the rest of the extra deck is going to be just utility XYZ monsters. So you have Exton, really, really low pointed card, very, very good into board states. I have Rhapsody and Berserk. You know, it's a DD Crow in the extra deck, and you tend to make it really, really easily. You have ways of, because you can make multiple XYZs, equipping this and just kind of making space on the board is very important. Tornado Dragon helps get rid of problematic Floodgate spells and traps, things like that. I run the number 60, which is a pointed card. It's 10 points normally, or is 10 points, and this has just a bunch of busted abilities which help you OTK. Helps you draw deeper into the deck, into hand traps, and then also revive your stuff. Daiguster Emerald, it's the last point in the deck to kind of round out the 100 points. And it generally, honestly, doesn't come up that often because once you're through all your Magnet Warriors, if your opponent grinded you out that much, you're probably not winning that game anyway. So I would probably cut this for like a Castel because there are just a bunch of sticky monsters like Crucia and other things like that that just don't die by battle and need to be shuffled away back into the deck. I run this card. This card is kind of a combo piece alongside the Granite. This card searches for a level 4. This one adds one back to the hand, and so a lot of the times you'll end on like this and this with your Delusion and your XYZs on the field. Or excuse me, the Delusion and the Fusion monster on the field, and you just have a bunch of follow-up and a bunch of walls that just have a hard time breaking through because this guy makes them so you boost your monsters by 800 defense, and he adds back a level 4 Earth from the graveyard. The next ones are this. This kind of just helps make space, and it revives your stuff. So sometimes, you know, just being able to revive your Gallon Granite and just have to be another thing that your opponent has to push through makes things difficult for them to kill you. One of the MVP of the extra deck is the Lapellation. This card has the ability to do 3 different effects when you overlay 3 of your monsters. It like sends a card from their hand to the graveyard, it sends a spell or trap, and it sends a monster. So this is just a good way to help break boards. And sometimes hands rips is important. And then I decided to run the Utopia package. This card just helps beat over massive guys that you have a hard time getting over, and once again helps you OTK. That's just about it for the deck. The rest of this, the side deck, I won't go over too much just because I feel like it's relatively generic for my locals. So, you know, take into consideration what you're playing and what you're playing against. So I feel like this card, very, very crazy card, Illusion Gate. I think if this card is not in your side deck, that might be the only thing that's wrong. Everything else is just kind of meh. Yeah, they're just, it's too good. You have my floodgates of choice, which are 0 points. They need to be pointed. Stygian Dirge, you have those. You have Soundproof, which is Elf Note and Cool Tune, and I have like Sword Soul and a bunch of other synchro-based strategies that I just make it so they can't play. Twin Twister is my the back row destruction of choice. Being able to discard the minus or the freaking, what is it called? the plus, being able to discard that and kind of get a revive is kind of fun, quirky little thing. And then I also have the Kaiju. This is an Earth card because there's a secret effect of this guy. This guy makes it so that if your opponent has an Earth monster, that it takes half of its attack. And so the Earth effect kind of comes up where you're able to take and beat over and just kind of get some extra attack and for some extra damage. Yeah, anyway, that's just about it. If you want to discuss more about the deck, I really do like this deck as soon as it came out. There's not too many other ways that you can play it. I know that a lot of people run like Nat Beast and stuff, but I still feel like you have cards like Dark Ruler No More and just ways to play around the beast so much it's just not really worth the points. And so I rather stick a really sticky board, have a whole bunch of hand traps that you have to break through, and it's been successful so far. So let me know in the comments down below. This is Aether. Peace.